now we have the poem. We have the poem here. This poem is part of the Unit 1. So I think I mentioned either in the teacher training video 1 or 2 that in her volume 3, I believe, Charlotte Mason mentions or shares a story of a lady that was a French lady that was taking care of a girl, and she would recite a poem often just because she wanted and she enjoyed reciting it. She wasn't trying to teach the girl. And one day the girl was able to say the whole poem. So I did an experiment with my own family, and I recited this poem often. Every time I remember to do it. And my older girl, who was 5 at that time, was able to recite the whole thing. One day I asked her to recite it with me, almost the whole thing, actually. So you can just use it informally in that way. Just have your child listen to it. You can have him sit down and listen to it, or you can just listen to it while he's getting ready or in the car, and he'll learn it. He will learn it. And then what I did with my girl, when she knew much of this, either she would ask me, Mama, what does mariposa mean? And I would explain to her, or I would pick a few words or 1 or 2 words and at a time and explain the meaning to her. So that's how you would teach it informally. And then to teach it formally, I have these cards in the formal lessons. So this is how you purposefully teach a poem word by word or idea by idea. So I divided this poem into shorter sections, but feel free to go one line at a time, especially if you and your child both are beginners in Spanish. Feel free to just go one line at a time. So I'm going to show you how to do a formal poem lesson. Now, if you remember in the instructions, these are, I'm sorry, my baby is too excited right now. These pictures are upside down for you right now because this is a card that you fold in the middle, and you have the translation and the words on your side, and your child is looking at the pictures right side up on the other side. So because I want you to be able to see the words and the pictures, I'm going to keep it like this so you can see both of them in the video. And just one more thing. If you are doing the informal and the formal lessons at the same time, then you have to focus on the formal lessons more and use the informal lessons more lightly, more loosely. So feel free to not be listening to a poem informally if you're working to a poem formally. Same thing with the song lesson. Feel free to leave out, listen to a different song for exposure, just informally. If you are learning one formally, you could just listen in the car, the one you're already teaching formally. If you want more exposure, then go ahead and do both songs and both poems and even more songs, just to have your child be exposed to more Spanish. Okay, so my 4-year-old already went to play with the baby, so I'm gonna just work with my 6-year-old. Joy, we're going to learn the words of this poem, and you're going to be able to say a poem in Spanish, okay? Now remember that she already knows much of this poem just by me reciting it around her, usually when I was giving her a shower or getting her ready for bed or cleaning. So there's just barely any new word for her in here, but she's going to just be an example of how a student is to interact during the formal lesson. Okay, Joy. First, we're going to listen to the whole poem, okay? Mariposa del aire, qué hermosa eres. Mariposa del aire, dorada y verde. Mariposa del aire, quédate ahí, ahí, ahí. No te quieres parar, pararte no quieres. Mariposa del aire, dorada y verde. Luz de candil, mariposa del aire, quédate ahí, ahí, ahí. Quédate ahí. Mariposa, ¿estás ahí? And remember that you have the QR codes, right here in the corner and right here. So if you don't speak Spanish, you can just listen to me saying the audios. Okay, Joy, now I want you to learn the words. I'm going to show you point to the pictures that represent the word I'm saying. So this is a butterfly. I'm going to say in Spanish, this is for a very, very beginner. For once you are a few units in, you won't have to say them in English. You would just go through the pictures in Spanish and they'll be able to understand. So for this time, this is how your very first lesson should look like. You would have some English in it. So, Joy, this picture represents a butterfly. This picture represents air. And this picture represents beautiful. Butterfly, air, beautiful. Now, let's learn the first line in Spanish.
You have to point when I hear the sound?
No, I will point. Mariposa.
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 Del.
Del.
Del means of the air. Aire.
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 Mariposa.
Mariposa.
Del.
Del aire.
Aire. Okay, try to point. Mariposa. Del. There's nothing to point. Aire. There you go. Mariposa del aire. Can you say that?
Mariposa del aire.
Qué hermosa eres.
Qué hermosa eres.
Qué means how. Hermosa. Eres means you are. Mariposa del aire. Qué hermosa eres.
Mariposa del aire. Qué hermosa eres.
And then the next lesson, you're going to review this and go to the next line.